Hello, hello, what's up? So, not a great intro, but welcome back to the 78-day Tarot Challenge. This is a challenge where we take one card a day. We embody it as much as I possibly can, try to relate it to my life, my internal experience, and my external reality. Obviously, I'm still in the same spot, but that's what today is all about, is doing what you can with what you have. And so since today's card is the Magician, we're talking about the tools that we have in front of us on our table. I don't have a table, I have a hammock. But, this is what I could do with what I have. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, I'm just explaining. I'm just talking. I'm not building anything physical or tangible at the current moment. But, as you can see, we have the infinity symbol above the Magician's head. He is holding a wand and pointing to the sky. And pointing a finger down below. And so he has a cup, a sword, a pentacle, and a wand on the table. And there are plenty flowers surrounding him. So, with the divine inspiration from Source, Spirit, Infinite Creation, we have all the energy we need. And we have all the inspiration possible. And the symbolic nature of him pointing to the sky and pointing down below, and the symbols of all of the suits on the table represent something else, right? To activate our psyche. And so when we're talking about as above, so below, pointing to the sky, as it is on earth, so it is in heaven. That means that pretty much we are a fractal image of the Creator himself. Himself, herself, whatever, non-binary or whatever the fuck you want to say. Source, they, whatever, it's, I don't know, doesn't really matter. But, just like in scripture and Christian scripture, it's like, man is made in God's image, or something like that, right? It's the same thing as a fractal image of intelligence. We are conscious awareness, and so therefore my lower self is a fractal image of my higher self. And so we're using these symbols to connect to higher faculties that we cannot comprehend, because man is an image of God, but God is not man. If that makes any sense. The higher always rules over the lower. But it's the same mirrored above as it is below. So I'm intelligent, I'm conscious, but above, I can't understand or comprehend the amount of intelligence that comes from above. So that's why we use symbols and archetypes and imagery to try to grasp ideas and metaphors, to try to grasp ideas that we otherwise wouldn't be able to comprehend without the pattern recognition and the connections that we make between symbols, imagery, patterns over time, throughout infinity, Because as it is above, we don't experience life through just had to make sure I'm still recording. We don't experience life through time. It's infinite above. And I don't know, that's how I interpreted the infinity symbol, above his head. I don't know, it could mean a couple of different things traditionally, but it's almost as if, but My point is that my lower expression is just a vessel for my higher self to come through, you know, and experiencing the unfoldment across space and time is how that is expressed through my ego and the actions that I take and the behaviors that I have. But I'm taking that divine inspiration from above and applying it and taking action and having behaviors based off of that. So the more that I relate to these symbols and these archetypes and this stuff, it gets me to behave in a certain way in accordance to what I'm believing through my higher guidance. If that makes any sense. But I would like to say that in my particular opinion, when it comes to as above, so below, but you know, everything is fractal in nature. My mind is a fractal image of the Creator's mind expressed through a physical vessel called the human body and the human mind. Psyche, psychology, spirituality, whatever, biochemistry, the actual DNA, you know, the physical application of such. It's a mirror. It's a fractal. It's yeah. I don't know how to better explain that other than it's a smaller version of itself inside of itself. You know, infinitely connected. Just like if you look at the neural pathways of your brain mapped out, it looks like, you know, galaxy superclusters in the universe on a grand scale, as above, so below. You know, atoms, particles, you know, electrons and neutrons and you know, protons revolving around a nucleus is similar to the nature of which planets orbit the center of the sun. You know, it's kind of a fractal image of itself played out across many different scales, and we can look at life this way in plenty of different ways. So that's when the saying "as above, so below." So anytime I make a change in the quantum field, it ripples out into the cosmos. You know, that's how everything is connected in its fractal in nature, and then same thing goes with my higher faculties that I cannot understand. The things that are happening above in the unseen realms are the same things that are happening on Earth. And if I make a change on Earth, I make a change above. If I make a change above, I make a change below. And that's how everything ripples out and does so. So, the magician knows this and is very aware. However, he doesn't really know what he wants to create. For me, if I am being the magician today, I don't really know what I want to create. All I really know is that I want to have a specific outcome. Well, actually, yeah, I guess I do. I wanted to have a specific expression on YouTube where I could actually express this knowledge. And ironically enough, I have all the tools necessary, and I have the power to do so right now. So I pick up the phone, I turn on the camera, and I upload it to YouTube. It's as simple as that. That's how I'm applying the magician today, and I know I've probably made this, you know, the first step was taking the action. You know, the Ace of Wands was me taking the action of putting together this structure and taking the first step and making the first video. Deciding which card to pick. And then relating that to my life. Relating that to how... And it's funny how this is all fractal of itself, really. It's all a fractal of itself. Every time I walk the path, each step is the path. Funny enough, but it's just a bunch of steps. But it's one big step. If that makes any sense. Every checkpoint is just another bigger step. Every video is just another step. Every card is just another version of the journey of itself played out through taking steps. A step is a day. You know? There's the days in the month. There's the months in the year. It's all repeated. into infinity and beyond. So I think that's what the infinity symbol means. But how does this really affect me? This relates to what I'm doing in this journey and this challenge and what I'm trying to teach and what I'm trying to teach myself and what I'm trying to learn about the power of transformation, the power of inspirational symbols, the power of walking the path, of doing something. Instead of staying passive, honestly, the reason why I started this challenge was because I was passively consuming tarot readings that told me fortunes that I wanted to hear, that I wanted to happen. But I didn't do anything to make those things happen. Well, I had all the tools in front of me to create a YouTube channel that inspired others to act differently. I've been frustrated by the nature of how people have disgraced this tool of transformation and growth. And I'm sorry that it sounds like I'm frustrated about it, And I wanted to be an inspiration to show a different story. Because it's not true. It's a disgrace. If you go on TikTok, you get a bunch of people reading cards in ways that say, oh, your lover's coming. You're about to get the 10 of Pentacles. You don't have to do anything. This is not a good advice. This is not walking the path. And you cannot call yourself a spiritual guide if you guide people to their destruction. And therefore, I knew I didn't want to show up in this manner. So I didn't want to be that. And I had to learn the hard way of what not to be at the end of the day. But I didn't know what I wanted to be. But actually, that's a lie. I wanted to be an example. A humble, honest, down-to-earth, authentic, grounded human being who is humble and grateful for what he has. There are plenty of tools at my disposal right now to do everything that I wish to do and be that example. I was just afraid of putting myself on the internet and actually being authentic and real and speaking my truth the way that I see it from my perspective, where I'm standing in space and time in this human body. So this is me doing it. This is me applying that inspiration, that passion of the wand, the action that I'm taking. This is me cutting through the BS with my sword, speaking the truth with clarity and intention and focus and purpose and coherence. This is me using the physical, tangible tools of the Pentacles, the money that I actually have. What's funny is I turned $50 that I borrowed into $200 using my phone and a betting app on the World Cup just by simply betting on the most likely winner. Who cares who's going to win? I don't care. I turned $50 into $200. Gives me enough money to eat for the next, period of time. That was a necessary thing that I needed to do. Yes, it was risky, but I trusted, and it worked out. I made $200. Isn't that impressive? I'm using my phone to record a camera. Using the camera on my phone to record this video, and I'm not making excuses as to why I can't continue the challenge, even though I'm frustrated today because of the nature of the disgrace and the dumbing down. It's like going to the lowest common denominator. It's ironic that people who speak of higher consciousness do not even know how to use the tools that are at their disposal. And this is a criticism of myself too. It wasn't until I started taking action that I had clarity, that I learned lessons, that I made mistakes. I had found out that there's a perfectly good movie editor on my Samsung phone. Therefore, I can clip together a lot of different clips and upload it to YouTube pretty easily and effortlessly. as long as I was willing to take the actions right in front of me to do so. I never wanted a career on YouTube. I wanted to inspire other people to get out of the traps that they find themselves in. And that's what the tool of the tarot, however you want to say it. I mean, there's a taro plant here, so you got to say tarot because it's not a taro plant. So I'm speaking very, very not softly because I'm fed up. And quite frankly, you know, I'm just breathing fire all over the place, trying to burn this to the ground because it's unfortunate that we find ourselves in a comfortable lie, telling ourselves that we're transforming because I clicked on a message that told me I was going to be fortunate. No. If you want to manifest your reality, you want to become the magician, the creator of your life, you're going to use the tools that are in front of you to do so. This is my own criticism here too, because I was sitting here thinking, you know, I wish it was easy. And actually it is easy. It can be easy. Not everything has to be hard. We tell ourselves that everything's got to be hard and you're so strong and tough because you made it through so many difficult things. But your paradigm is your paintbrush, and if you have the paradigm that everything is so difficult and that you're so tough, well, you're going to get experiences, and you're going to create experiences that validate why you're so tough and you made it through so many hard, difficult experiences. That's the power of speaking your reality into existence, is that you don't even realize, you know? And sometimes when you have those archetypal stories about the devil granting wishes, like that movie Bedazzled. She grants all these wishes, but he doesn't say it specifically enough to where there's always something that he doesn't realize. It's like, oh, I didn't realize this would be a negative thing that came along with that wish. You know, that's exactly what happens when you've got to be very careful what you're crafting and speaking into reality as the magician. And what you're using your tools to create what reality you're creating. If you want to create the story and the paradigm that everything is tough, but you're so strong and you're so capable, that's going to be true. You're going to be strong and capable, but you're going to give experiences that validate that. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to create something that's easy, fun, and entertaining. And joyous and exciting. And I'm excited to see how these archetypes actually play out in my life. You know? I've realized that I have plenty of tools here. I have a coffee mug. I'm actually about to make some more coffee right now. I'm at 20 minutes rambling really hard. Give me a break real quick and let me make some coffee. Let me put the coffee pot on real quick. And I just want to just say, you know, I have coffee, a badass coffee mug that I found. Whoops. I found a badass coffee mug that I found. I can't even speak, dude, today because I'm so frustrated. And this propane stove, been using it this whole entire time. This pan and this pot, so simple. I had sausage and onions again today. And now I'm about to make a nice warm cup of vanilla coffee. I love vanilla, and I love cinnamon. I put cinnamon in my coffee. So yeah, let me cut real quick. All right, so it's a mess over here. I got to do some dishes. But I'm working exactly with what I have, I put myself in a very terrible position because of the nature of what I had just described. I tried to follow other people's guidance, and I was extremely misled. And it's disappointing. And so the reason why I have to use the tools that I have now, this is a great learning lesson. This is a great lesson. Very humbling to understand that I have to look at my own shadow and my own darkness to accept things that I can change within myself to make a difference. And I'm not calling anybody out and saying that it's their fault. I'm saying this is my fault for making mistakes. And I can turn those mistakes into valuable lessons. And so since this is a lesson on how to actually use tarot cards and symbolism and the journey of the tarot in a very powerful way for the access to the reflection of my deep psyche and my relation to patterns and symbols and synchronicities, so I can focus my mind to create and bring down that inspiration from my highest self into matter, into a physical, tangible creation. Maybe, perhaps it's not a physical, tangible creation, but it's a video that you can watch. It's a challenge that you can take on your own. And so since today is the magician, and we're doing that, I'm making coffee, I'm using my phone. I got this badass battery pack that has a solar thing on it. It doesn't really work. The solar thing just kind of supplements the battery charging. I have these tools, and so I can use them the best that I can, and I'm making use of my time. Instead of sitting here and consuming more garbage that is dramatic and sucks my time, energy, and attention, I'm just giving away my energy and my time to other people who I wish I could help. But instead I gotta help myself. And that's just the reality of what it is. And so this is how the magician applies this stuff, is I'm going to go through the motions, use the tools that I have to create a good meal for myself, use the time that I have with the phone to express myself and ground down that higher inspiration into something practical that can reach somebody else. By creating a framework that's easy for anybody to follow and join along, and then sitting here and inviting people to do exactly the same thing, to analyze their own internal psyche and how it relates to physical, tangible objects in real life and my external reality. And because I'm deciding to change my relationship to my internal and external reality through creating these videos and thinking about, because if I were to say I'm not going to do the video today, or I'm going to quit the challenge, my mind wouldn't be focused on how I can apply these things and how it relates to me. So therefore I'm getting the ball rolling in a completely different direction. Something may never come of this, and it may not be the vessel that I want to express myself in, but I've always wanted to actually have the ability to express my particular perspective on all of this occult knowledge and stuff. I've always wanted to. Archetypal imagery and teaching my perspective on anything spiritual, or just life in general. Just philosophy. I'm a naturally talented philosopher. And I've always wanted to be able to speak my philosophy on the internet. I just didn't have the courage or the reason or the vessel or the container to do so. Now I have a reason that gets me into a consistent practice every day, that I can do easily every day, to express my philosophy and my perspective. And because I've been able to do this consistently for 4 days, we're going to keep it going. And so I'm sorry, I'm just kind of negative energy right now. But it's okay. It's called being human. You know, we go through things. And I'm just frustrated by the nature of what's happening, you know, with these cards. It's a disgrace to the power and the potential that could be had. And so therefore I am being the example of what happens when you can actually go from the fool to the magician to create a different reality for yourself. I'm basically living on the beach in Hawaii with, I don't have nothing. I have all kinds of things. And that's the point, is to realize what you have and to use it wisely. Whether it's your time, your energy, your resources, your tools, making coffee, taking care of myself. I can use the beach to exercise. I can run up and down the beach all day. I can go swimming. I can make myself feel better. I can put a smile on my face. I can pick up the phone and click record. I can post a video to YouTube. That's how the magician applies to my life today. It's as simple as that. And all of that divine inspiration, well, it's being grounded through action. Because I can think about it all day long, but action doesn't come from clarity. Sometimes action, fuck. So that was yesterday's quote. I don't really know what the quote would be for today. Is that for the magician, the sentence should be, you have everything you need. So just start. What are you building? Is the question. You already have everything you need right in front of you. I mean, that essentially sums it up. What are you doing with the tools that you have right now? What are you doing today with your time right now? Are you going to go online and passively consume, or are you going to create? That's the question I had to ask myself. So instead of being a passive consumer and arguing and complaining and staying in the same loop of giving my time, energy, and attention to other people who don't care about me, that don't inspire me and actually frankly piss me off, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create my perspective and my expression of how I think these cards should be used. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Not in a condescending manner, but I mean, it's like, hey, how does this really apply to life? Are we just having fun and entertaining ourselves? Because it's not fun anymore, especially when you're playing mind games with other people. And I refuse to do that to other people. I want to set people free, not keep them in more mental traps. And the whole purpose of tarot is to reflect on your life and go through transformation and be honest with yourself. Work through the shadows. Work through the uncomfortable stuff. My coffee is boiling. Time's up. So anyways, you get the point. I'm not going to do a reading today. We're going to see if anybody actually gets any value out of what I'm saying. If you don't like what I'm saying, please let me know. If you don't like my attitude, please let me know. If you do like what I'm saying and you want to join the challenge, I encourage you to find better ways that maybe I haven't thought of yet, and do it your own way. I'm doing the magician today. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I'm going to be in town tomorrow. So, yeah. Hit me up on Instagram if you're actually going to do the challenge. Leave a comment if you actually enjoy my expression and what I'm talking about and how I'm doing this. Yes, I'm just sitting in the hammock again today, but I'm doing what I can with what I have, and this is just what I can do right now. I don't know where this is going to go. And obviously, Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords, Ace of Cups, Ace of Pentacles. Maybe tomorrow we can do an Ace of Pentacles and figure out a new way to make money. Or maybe a new path to exit. Maybe we can learn something new. Maybe we can talk about alchemy. Maybe we can talk about Kabbalah. Maybe we can talk about all kinds of stuff. I don't know. But I'm going to figure out a way to apply these in town tomorrow. But this will fall under the category of magician. And whatever it is, it would probably be, well, I mean, it could be Ace of Cups or Ace of Pentacles. I don't know yet. We could still do Two of Wands and Two of Swords. Tomorrow might be a Two of Swords day, you know? Who knows? It just depends on, I'm being intuitively guided, but we're going to make it through all the cards in 78 days. I invite you to join with me and embody it, relate it to your internal and external experience and what you're actually doing. It doesn't have to be YouTube. That's the vessel that I'm doing it in this time. And if we make it all the way through, you know, we'll have a wonderful body of documentation to understand this great insight and transformation that I've gained and learned about myself throughout this whole entire journey. And that's the whole point. So, if you like my message today, if you like my insight and perspective today, please let me know. Stuff is in the description. If you want to send me a message, you can find my Instagram there. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but have fun. See you later.